It's Wednesday night, time for some straight talk. It's your host, Matt Hasley, coming at you. Have you ate yet? Well, if you haven't, log on to eat24.com. Download that app for your favorite mobile device. Click, order, and eat. It's really that easy. Also, hotsaucevault.com. Check out Louie at hotsaucevault.com. He's got hot. He's got crazy hot stuff on there. And regular wimpy stuff if you want it. He's got it all. Gag gifts, you name it. Check him out. hotsaucevault.com. We have currently watching the Cubs out of my left eye, watching what's going on right there. Wild throw. Cubs just added another run on the lead, make it 4-2. It is bottom of the seventh. So, I have no idea the pick that just came up. But, no, Tiger makes the news again. Well, apparently, got my little booklet here. All my stuff that I'm going to talk about, stuff for tonight. So, all kinds of different things going on. But Tiger's fusion surgery, he talked about it, came out, and, you think about, he says he wants to play professionally again. Cancer light patented. Not sure what that's supposed to mean. Your people would love to see it. What do you mean? I can't see it kind of blocked out the drop box, whatever it's supposed to be. But talking about Tiger. Oh, and by the way, Brant, thanks. I'm not going to click it during my show. I'm live on Facebook Live. So I got an hour. So sorry. Tiger Woods is feeling good again. He unequivocally wants to come back and play professional golf. He said just don't see him anytime soon. Woods made it much clearer in a post on his website Wednesday, in which he detailed how serious his recent surgery will be affecting his game moving forward. Woods, who had spine fusion surgery, which he was kind of pushed into it by Davis Love III. Davis Love had the same surgery when he was 48 and come back to play competitive. So, and people say, as long as he can get back to where he didn't have any pain. Tony, welcome to the show. How's it going? Then I see him being competitive. Tiger's that great a player. I would love to see him come back, but they don't think that he might not even be back in maybe until next year. And maybe, I don't think early next year. I think it's going to be a while before he's back, because he's going to have to do the biggest thing you want to do, and what the doctors told him is, don't try to push it too hard too early to make sure that the fusion takes place, that it doesn't come apart. So, I think maybe, he's going to be, 42, 43. I think he's got some time yet. Maybe if he plays late next year, or, maybe they're talking about moving the PGA. I got a little information about that tonight. So if we talk about moving the PGA, well, it's getting done, the tour season, right at the end of football season. They're even talking about, maybe moving the PGA to May, which would move the Tour Championship back into March where it used to be. It's just that they think that will do is every month that will make a high-end tournament every month. It's whether they're going to make that move, who knows? But they have probably till about August. So they actually discussed it. It's The problem with doing that, shrinking your season down like that and trying to compact it all in, I think you screw your smaller events because you make it so compacted where they end up skipping a lot of the smaller events. I remember when I interviewed Claire Peterson, the tournament director for the John Deere Classic, and I kind of mentioned about the August date, and asked him why the John Deere Classic seems to get screwed over all the time, and he took offense to that, and I can understand. He's, but it just seems like they get, for one of the tournaments been around as long as they do, they don't draw the bigger names. I mean, they're Zach Johnson. But he's a local boy. That's why he's from Cedar Rapids. He went to school at Drake. He's from this area. This is like his fifth major or sixth major, what I'm going to call it, because this is like a major tournament for him to win here. He's won here. It's one of those tournaments that you see, like Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth won here. And it made him to where, he's a name that he is now. Added it to his resume. You got Steve Stricker, won here back-to-back, 3 times in a row. Almost won it 4. So, yeah, some great players have won here at the John Deere Classic. I hope they don't get getting screwed over. Because when you put a major event every month, the events that normally would, profit from the other ones will sometimes get skipped. I don't want to see it to be just, majors. Cubs right now, 2 outs, bases loaded. Still leading 4-2. With going to the LPGA Tour, or actually before we get to that, Jordan Spieth grabbed that mallet putter for 1 week and then dumped it. Yeah, he went right back to his old trusty. It's one of those deals where you really got to get used to that. It's to make that change. When I first switched to a mallet putter, it took me quite a while. And now I don't know if I could switch back. It's just something you feel comfortable with. It's, he missed 2 cuts in a row, but it wasn't all because of that same putter. So I think what you do is, he's got to get his confidence back. Once he gets his confidence, he's unbelievable putter. He makes putts from everywhere. So love to see that happen. Coming up, what I think the BMW this week. And pretty soon you're going to have the U.S. Open in Erin Hills, Wisconsin coming up. So not Steve Stricker, who's the only one, I think one of the only ones on tour right now that's that has played at Erin Hills. And he has to do is try to qualify. So he may still qualify, but he didn't get an exemption. So I did want to talk about the NCAA Women's Championship. I think it was there was some weird stuff that happened to it, but you got to look at what is it? ASU wins their 8th Women's Championship. Congratulations to them. But this had nothing to do with, this happened to do in the stroke play part of it. It says, it was an article about Northwestern's Sarah Cho and Kent State's Kelly Nielsen, who during the weather-delayed second round of the NCAA Women's Championship on Sunday at Rich Harvest Farms were each assessed 2 stroke penalties for, get this, using the bathroom. And they go, what do you mean using the bathroom? They got penalized. Well, technically the penalties weren't for using the bathroom. They were actually for using a cart to travel them to the bathroom. It said players have been authorized to take carts to speed up play on otherwise long walks from the 3rd to the 4th tee, 9th to the 10th tee, and 11th to the 12th tee. However, Cho was not authorized to jump in a cart to visit the ladies' room after finishing up the 18th hole to avoid delaying her group from teeing off on the first hole. Similarly, when Nielsen got a ride from Kent State staffer to find the facilities coming off a 13th green, she too had breached the rules. A stupid rule. I mean, it makes no sense at all. That, okay, it's too far for you to walk from whatever tee to the next tee, but if you get a ride to go to the bathroom, you're in violation of the rule. I just think this is technicalities gone berserk. To get penalized for that, it's stupid. You know, they come up with rules like that, and they wanted to make it part of. I mean, you go to play at the Masters, and the Masters is undoubtedly the most, one of the most beautiful golf courses you're ever going to see. But a lot of people don't realize how hilly it is, so everybody walks, and I understand that. But for college players to go from, to give them a ride over to the restroom, I see no problem with that. For a tour player that has no idea where the restroom might be and needs a ride to it, giving them a ride, I have no problem with that. I just think it's they go berserk with these rules. So, a lot of times you have in USGA events, you have what they call traditionalists. And traditionalists they don't believe in carts. They believe in walking when you play, which, fine. I mean, that's fine. That's the way they feel. Although, I did give a ride to a USGA. He was on the rules committee or whatever. From the 17th to the 18th tee at a course down in Florida. Because it was such a long walk. And I told him, I said, this is kind of funny, isn't it? But he laughed about it, but yeah, he was a purist, they call him, or whatever. Nowadays, if you made it to where everybody walked in golf would not be nearly as popular as it is. The revenue would not be in the game as it is. For the public facilities I'm talking about, or even the tourist courses or whatever you want to call them, the TPC courses and stuff like that. A lot of them you have to ride. So, but going to the LPGA Tour. The LPGA Tour has Hannah Zhang. She's one of the most liked women on the LPGA Tour. Well, she decided to rescind her LPGA membership and will return to play full-time in her native South Korea beginning next month. She expected to hold a news conference, address the decision. Hannah Zhang won 3 LPGA titles last year and added a 4th in February at the ISPS Honda Women's Australian Open. Zhang quickly became known for her post-victory celebrations, but she struggled to distance herself from a freak accident involving her father and a fellow LPGA star in In-ji Chung. In March of 2016, Zhang's father dropped a travel bag down an escalator at the Singapore airport that crashed into Chung. Chung then withdrew from the LPGA event, held the week in Singapore, one that Zhang went on to win. She celebrated with a Beyonce-style dance on the 18th green that many Korean fans viewed as disrespectful given the airport collision that knocked out one of her chief competitors. Jang struggled to cope with the backlash, so she returned to Korea for a brief period last year following the incident when she was at one point hospitalized for a variety of ailments. I don't know what. So probably the stress from it. So she's going to go back and play the regular tour, try to do his, I guess what you want to do is get her the respect back from the people. In Korea, that's huge. You know, it's a kind of one of those freak accents, you know, but you feel bad for her. I think she's, you know, well liked on the regular tour. A lot of people hate to see her go. All of the wording in it, and when, you know, people writing stuff in there, it sounded like he was well liked. Tony Romo, former Dallas quarterback Tony Romo, has hung up his cleats for a spot in the broadcast booth after sitting out most of last season with an injury. But before he makes his NFL debut for CBS, Romo will get some run of the booth this weekend at Dean and DeLuca Invitational. Romo knows his golf, and he's tried and failed to qualify for the U.S. Open multiple times. So, hey, give him a chance. I want to see how he's done. George, welcome to the show. Who knows? He can't be worse than. I mean, he seems like he's a really good player. He seems like a personable guy. I think he can work in the booth. Probably one of my favorite announcers, and he could do just about any sport, is for ESPN, Mike Tirico. It seems like he can do just anything. You know, he's one of those guys that he just comes across at every sport he broadcasts, and he's really good. I remember way back when my father used to do broadcasts for when it was actually called the Quad City Open before the John Deere Classic. I thought it was so cool, my dad being on TV. You know, anybody that was on TV back then, you were like, oh my God, he's a celebrity. Or even if they were on a commercial. Because we didn't have, you know, when I was a kid, you only had 4 channels, or actually 3, and then you had, finally came on with, what is it, public television, which was 12, I think it was at that time. But yeah, it was a lot different. And anytime you saw somebody on TV, you know, and you were like, oh my God, there's a celebrity. So if you play golf, and you know, you're going to run into all kinds of different animals. Was it last week or the week before we had 2 coyotes run across our golf course? And, I mean, they were good size, 50, 60 pounders. So they looked like they were eating well. But I also talked to a gentleman, and he says, you wait. He said, won't be long. We're going to have cougars coming this way. I mean, they're working their way. And I said, you talking about the elderly women that go after young guys? Or are you talking about, and he smacked me, and he said, get your mind out of the gutter. And I said, well, I don't know if that's possible, but out in South Africa, a group of golfers were playing in South Africa, had to stop on the 14th hole. Turned out to be occupied by 2 venomous snakes doing battle. So you imagine that. They actually captured footage of it. It says at Leopard Creek Golf Course. You know, that's not a real good name for a golf course. You think you're in South Africa, you never know what kind of animal you're going to run into. But just outside Kruger National Park, they spotted 2 mambas battling in the grass. Well, I would go way around them, and if my ball was near them, it's a lost ball. I'm sorry. They win. because all it takes is, I think, one bite of those and you're about done. I talked to, I didn't realize this, but, I always heard about people that get rabies or something like that. And I talked to one of the local veterinarians. I've given him golf lessons, nice guy. And I was asking him he was talking about how, we vaccinate dogs here and we don't have a rabies problem with dogs. But he was talking about overseas in India, they had thousands of people die each year because of rabies from dog bites. And I was like, what? And so they had a humanitarian mission where they go over and they vaccinate dogs. And what they'll do is it'll get down from being, it'll get it down from thousands down to, maybe hundreds. So, thanks, Joe Savino. Thanks for tuning in. But, so he was talking about, the rabies, and he told me that if you got so much time to catch it, and if it gets past, if you get bit and you think this dog had rabies and you don't do anything about it, well, in the facial area, you might have a month, and you're done. It's fatal. You are, or maybe less than that, but you get bit in the arm, you might have longer than that, maybe a month or so, he said. But in the face area, it might be weeks. Because once it gets in the brain, you're done. And I was like, really? And I said, what are the treatment for that? And they were talking about, depending on the size of the person, the shots, and, they take, it's preventable. But I was just like, wow, I didn't realize that, it was, really fatal. It was just shocking to hear that. So, yeah, if you think, and right now they're promoting it real heavy in this area about ticks and Lyme disease and stuff like that. So you got to really do is, you got dogs, you go with your dogs. They said what happens is dog can pick up a tick and get on you, and it takes 2 days for that tick to be on you to be able to transfer the virus. And I was like, thinking about, well, I work at a golf course. Well, odds are you could come into contact with ticks very easily. So, it's, you get it back of your thigh, in the hair, different places like that. You can pick them up and not even know it. But they always say, check your dog, check yourself for ticks, back behind the ears, places that you don't normally see. And if one's on you, it could be just within 2 days you could have one. So, or have the Lyme disease. And that's, some tour players have ended up having that, and it'll mess you up pretty good. It's curable, but it's really knock you for a loop. We had, in other sports news, but this is Cubs are going on right now. Got 4-2. They got 2 on with, I have no idea how many out because they went to switch. But there was a funny story that came out, and it was, it came out on the Huffington Post as an odd news story. It says, John Lackey is now eating children, which is one of the Cubs pitchers. Apparently a typo on the screen, and I know if anybody's used a cell phone and they go to type something out, and as they're typing it, it changes the words in the middle of the type, and you're like, holy crap, I didn't mean to send that. And you'll get some goofy text sent to people, and they're like, what the hell does that mean? Well, apparently it said, John Lackey eating 4.2 children per start this season, highest of his career. Well, yeah, typos happen, unless somebody did it on purpose, which I doubt it. I know some people that probably would, but yeah. State of Iowa has their first female governor, Kim Reynolds. Kim Reynolds was sworn in today, and she is going to appoint her lieutenant governor apparently tomorrow. she was sworn in after Branstad, who was one of the longest governors for Iowa, resigned to become the U.S. ambassador to China. So I wish her the best of luck. I hope she does well. I think she'll do fine. So I think that she is going to, do well for Iowa. They also had one of the news stories today that came out, and it's kind of we going through, and I got my weird news, my funny news, but this is a news story, and I don't know if I'm kind of mixed emotions about this, but apparently Tom Cruise today confirmed that Top Gun 2 is definitely happening. I'm not sure if, a lot of times the sequels are never as good as the original. Like Caddyshack 2, no, wasn't even close. That was bad. You think about some of the sequels. I'm trying to think of a sequel that actually, Ted 2 is actually pretty funny. I thought that was pretty good. But I'm thinking of a couple sequels that came out that were even close to the first one. But it's you think of any of the movies that are great movies, because of course, what is it? Saw 4, Saw 5, none of those are. I'm sorry. My opinion is, if you're in a house and you lose power, and there's a guy going around killing people, I'm sorry, but don't go take a shower. So that's the goofy premise of all the scary movies. They don't make any sense to me, because there's no way anybody's going to go do that. I'm sorry, unless you're really stupid. But yeah. Oh wow, I think I'll go take a shower. Yeah. Oh, is that you, Billy, or is that you making all that noise? Yeah. I got the chainsaw, going after you. Yeah. It's just like, really. So, but Tom Cruise, he come out and he said that Top Gun 2 is definitely happening. The one I'm waiting for is Super Troopers 2. Apparently, they couldn't get any funding. They funded it themselves. It's supposedly going to be going to production. I don't know when they'll be done with it. I don't think it has a set date. But yeah, I don't. I haven't really any movies that I really desire to come out that I'm looking forward to. Heck, it's so expensive to go to a movie anymore. You go to a movie and you're spending if I take my kids, you're looking $30-$40, and then you get in there and you go, okay, what do you guys want? What do you want to eat? And it's like, okay, they're like the movie theater's doing one of these numbers, like, we got you. Yeah. Oh, would you like a soft drink and some popcorn? The 32-gallon bushel of popcorn, that you'll eat about half of and leave it there in the movie theater. So I wonder what a major movie theater, how much popcorn they go through in a year. I bet it's got to be astronomical. So we have a couple stories here locally. Fake food inspectors going around, and they're trying to do is get people to say, oh, if you pay so much, we'll renew your inspection or whatever it is. And what they're doing is they're actually getting their credit card information and steal and they're doing it for $5, but then they steal their credit card information. So I don't know if they're doing it by phone, but it would not make sense that they would be going into the restaurant, because I actually know the health inspector here, and she doesn't do it by phone. She comes in. So, but we had also This is a kind of a different story. Well, a different. I was able to renew my driver's license online this year, and I was able to do it for 7 years, which was surprising. But Iowa is also could be in 2018 have smartphone driver's license where you could actually have your driver's license to where you would just show your phone up and it would show a picture of your your ID and everything, all your information via your smartphone. Good things, yes. Could it be? What are they going to do to make it to where it's not doctored? That's what I wonder. How are you going to, because anybody could take a picture of a smartphone and, it could, take a picture of their driver's license and then somebody really good Photoshop the driver's license. But they got to have some way of keeping it to where you're not able to Photoshop it. But it's going to have a driver's license ID number on there anyway. But I'm just worried more or less somebody using it to get into like a bar, or some place where it restricts the age or selling something at a certain age. But if you give it to a police officer, they pull you over. They're going to be able to do is look at that, run your driver's license number, and tell if it's either suspended or active or anything like that. I have no problem with that. But the thing is that driver's license, is it going to be able to be, used for, getting into a bar? Well, that somebody's going to, somebody will try to do is alter it. There's always that stupid one in the crowd that tries to, do something to get by. We had also, got a couple stories here. We got one of, this was kind of a sad one. I read this story here about a 12-year-old boy who got busted. And it's not because he's 12 he got busted. It's what he was doing, what he got busted for. Let me see if I can find my article here. But he had busted for multiple attacks on 80-year-old women. So this kid was in Brooklyn. He's a preteen. He was 3 different times hitting her over the head with a metal rod, setting her jacket on fire with a lighter, and punching her in the face. So if this kid is 12, what's he going to be acting like when he's 18, 19? It said, this kid is a real piece of work. I wonder, can you imagine being his teacher? So the lady was cleaning up in front of her home, and the kid said something, but the woman doesn't understand English. Then, without warning, he allegedly punched her in the face. Says the victim was the same boy on another day allegedly used a lighter to set the woman's jacket on fire. So, you wonder where this kid gets this, where it comes in his, that much anger to be brought up inside. That's just crazy. At 12, I got an 11-year-old right now, and you think of that 11-year-old, and you think of him, I don't see him punching an 80-year-old lady. I don't see him punching anybody. But to hear that, it's just like, wow. There was a individual who was arrested, and this one makes me think of Jimmy from Pot Talk. You think about, Jimmy from Pot Talk, there was an individual who was arrested, and this is in Catawba County, And I have a tough time even saying that one, but yeah, they're going to love him in jail. Take care of that. Yeah. But he won't be going to jail for a while because he's only 12. That's the sad part of it, you know. So you got trying to think. The Catawba County is in somewhere in California. Well, individual. Oh no, I'm sorry, Catawba County, North Carolina. The article was written out, but man was arrested. Deputies found nearly an acre of opium poppy in. Said sheriff's office said the plants were discovered. Deputies got a tip last week and were able to obtain a search warrant. Coney Zhang was arrested and charged with manufacture and trafficking by possession. The sheriff estimates the plants could be valued at $500 million. Wow. Tell me that's not going to be some serious... That's a big time. That's not just dealing a little bag of weed on the street. That's big time. I wonder who turned him in. So somebody probably bought something and didn't like it, or bought something and didn't think they got the right amount and turned him in. That's usually what happens. So that's a lot. I know you can find weed grown, but that wild, but probably don't find an acre of opium. So, and I bet you that he'd been doing it for a while. There was another one here. Minnesota thrift store got a donation of clothes. Well, apparently somebody made a little extra donation in the kids' clothes. Minnesota police said they are seeking to reunite whoever accidentally donated 4 ounces of marijuana to a secondhand children's clothing store. It said the marijuana separated into 111 bags. He said, "Oh, thanks, Carl. Thanks for stopping by." It says, if you accidentally donated 111 grams of marijuana along with your clothing earlier at a local store, please come to the PD so we can reunite you. Yeah, that'll get a lot of visits. Police said they are fairly confident that they will be able to identify the mystery donor even if they don't come forward to claim the stash. Well, it says when we use social media, it does quickly start to give us a whole bunch of information. So, I'm sure they have probably cameras that could actually get people to, to point out who dropped off the goods and stuff. Most every place has a camera nowadays. Mary, welcome to the show. But 111 grams of marijuana. So, yeah, I think that was oops, you dropped off what bag of clothing? I bet you that was what kind of like reminds me of the old SpongeBob when they donated Mr. Krabs' mattress to the dump, and it was full of his money. Yeah. So yes, I watched SpongeBob. I got 3 kids. My youngest son, it was very popular. He's only 11. So here's a kind of a sinking feeling. Hello, Mary. How are you? Haven't talked to you in a while. We miss you. So, but how about a Florida CVS customer finds yourself locked inside after closing? That's got to be a crappy feeling to be shopping in a CVS and then all of a sudden, hey, where is everybody? And they lock you inside. So she was from Orlando. She was visiting Tuittsville when she stopped at a town CVS to buy a birthday card about 9:50 p.m. didn't realize that they closed at 10, and apparently the people that worked the store did not bother to check. So, said she made sure she was in full view of the security camera. She dialed 911 so it would be clear that she was not doing anything illegal. She goes, I was shaking, I was scared, but I wasn't scared for my life. I was just so nervous that I did something wrong, she said. I didn't know how this could happen. So I'm sure whoever the employee was that closed that night is probably getting a chewing out from the store manager. So is that a fist punch? You want to right here? Thanks, Mary. I don't understand some of the little icons or whatever. I had a guy that works for me. He said his brother-in-law won $750,000 in the lottery. I said he would be my most favorite brother-in-law. But apparently, 2 days before the final expiration, individual in New York went and claimed the $24.1 million jackpot that had been unclaimed. It had 2 days left. So the winner had apparently been unaware of the win until recent news coverage of the unclaimed prize led him to look through a pile of old tickets, uncovering the winning ticket from May 25th, 2016. How awesome would that be? 24.1. You know, would that be awesome? Just got a severe weather alert popping up on our screen. We're having flooding issues, but not luckily. It's not to me or to where we're at. It's the river flooding, the Mississippi. So getting over flood stage downtown. So yeah, we've had just nothing but off and on rain for the last I don't know how many days. This weather's so goofy. Beginning of last week, 90 degrees. Saturday, I think we hit high of 48. Today was only like 62. This is just such a goofy weather. We had 80s in February, and now we're in the 60s, almost June. So, California woman proceeds to rob a bank. Well, apparently her disguise that she used, police in California arrested a woman suspected of robbing a local bank on Tuesday while disguised with a drawn-on beard. Lose a little Sharpie marker. Said the incident occurred about 9:10 a.m. The suspect entered the bank in West Danville wearing black pants, black shirt, camouflage backpack, and what appeared to be a painted-on beard. Yeah, that works. That one's kind of hard to do is you can't just take that off. So it said the police said the suspect entered the bank, handed the teller a note demanding money, but did not display a weapon during the crime. So officers identified the suspect as a 36-year-old woman named Jennifer Ray McClary, and she was booked on charges. I want to see her booking photo. I bet you she had the Sharpie marker beard going. Maybe a little mustache and goatee. No play for Mr. Gray. Yeah. In New Jersey, I think this is in New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey. Tell me, how would it be if you're in New Jersey and the New Jersey Emergency Alert System accidentally activates and sends nuclear warnings to some of the TVs? And it said a false alarm that went out to some people's television set. Yep, there we go. Right there. It says, scared the crap out of some people. It said a civil authority has issued a nuclear power plant warning for the following counties, areas and it listed the Cumberland, Salem, New Jersey. I mean, you'd think it's going to be a meltdown, if you see that note coming up there. It said the message went out, said a civil authority had issued a nuclear power plant warning. So, I mean, you got to think that wait a minute, this plant is melting down. We better get out of here. I bet some people panicked and took off. So that's pretty scary. You got to do is somebody's going to get a chewing out. They have, speaking of power plants, well, apparently, what is his name? I guess you would call him a wayward raccoon, is to blame for the power outage that left thousands without power. You got in Central Florida, Kissimmee Utility Authority reports that a raccoon climbed on a 13,200 volt piece of equipment at the utility's airport substation about 11:59 p.m. and causing 3 primary feeder lines to fail. Just a guess, it knocked out about 70,000 customers. And, of course, it reported that the raccoon did not survive. He was probably toast. Yeah, it probably went and was gone. So we used to have raccoons that would come up to you at the golf course. I mean, they'd come right to you. Kind of freaky. But, yeah, they after a long period of time, they're not too much afraid of people. They had, I laughed and I told this that this could actually would be good for some people. And I was like, wow, this is a weird story. But injections of the love hormone could help spread kindness between strangers. Well, apparently the love hormone, oxytocin, helps families and couples form strong bonds. At first, I thought it said Oxycontin, and I thought maybe that was an actually, a class 1 drug, which possibly could do the same thing. But it says injected animals were kinder and less aggressive to seals they hadn't met before. I'd never heard of the love hormone. But could help us to be kinder to strangers, new research suggests. So if they put it in the water in New York and it works, then you know you got something. But I don't know. I've never heard of something called the love hormone. So interesting. But I don't see people buying it. We had also other news. I always like to talk about the weird news, but study finds, and I wonder who actually made this study, because it says study finds chocolate may decrease risk of an irregular heartbeat. And I'm like, really? Okay. It says previous studies have shown that cocoa and cocoa-containing foods, such as dark chocolate, have cardiovascular benefits. It says Harvard researchers have found consuming moderate amounts of chocolate may lower the risk of arterial fibrillation, or AF, a common type of irregular heartbeat. And the chocolate lovers are all in love with that. Yeah, I bet. So, but the one I get here, this is another kind of a food story here. And I'm like, okay. It says, I love the article from it. It goes, woman sues candy maker for its sugar-filled jelly beans. Okay, they're a candy maker. Just saying the word candy tells me it has sugar in it, But a California woman, however, says she was left in the dark and now wants retribution. Jessica Gomez says she purchased Jelly Belly's sport beans Advertised as a supplement for carbohydrates, electrolytes, and vitamins, believing that the candy has a lot less sugar than it actually does. Sugar, she notes, was not listed as a candy ingredient. Only later did she realize that evaporated cane juice, which was listed, was essentially the same thing. Now in a class action lawsuit, Gomez argues Jelly Belly's omission of the word sugar from the label was a deliberate attempt by the company to deceive consumers, and Munchies notes she backed up by the FDA guidelines on the matter. That's like suing McDonald's because the fries made you fat. You know, really. It's a candy. You know, it doesn't say sugar-free candy. So, yeah, you to argue about something to that effect, I think you're doing is being nitpicky, pulling at straws. If it said it was diet sugar-free, fine. It doesn't say sugar-free. You know, if it said it was, artificial sweetener, maybe. But if you were able to find out that that the other substitution was the same as sugar, I don't see why they would anything wrong with that. I mean, if you read a label and it says dextrose and yellow dye number 5, well, it's your responsibility to look up a yellow dye number 5 and see if you don't want it. It's not the candy company's job to sit there and argue and try to prove to you what is, right or wrong, whether you should take it or not. If you choice, if you want to put it in your body, if you're trying to be healthy, find out what the ingredients are before you go sticking it in your face. It's not like they tricked you into buying it. So that's what she's trying to say. If you are looking for, that kind of wild item, and you got too much cash to be able to spend, well, apparently there is moon dust is going to a $995 bag of moon dust could fetch $4 million at auction. I'm like, really? I'm sorry, but somebody's going to buy. It says lunar sample return. Yeah. Somebody says one space geek collector could soon be over the moon. It says small pouch marked lunar sample return, which Nancy Lee Carlson bought 2 years ago for $995, expected to fetch $4 million in an upcoming Sotheby's auction. That's because it's sprinkled with moon dust. I'm like, really? I'm sorry, I'm not spending $4 million on some dust. Nope. So, it said, however, NASA isn't thrilled. Agency spokesman Warren Jeffs told the Wall Street Journal that the bag should be on public display and not hidden away in some private collection. Yeah, I'm surprised it's not in a museum if it is what it is. Well, there was a painting that was out. Somebody was talking about how they spent, I don't know, it was like $100 and some million on this painting. And I'm like, no. I'm sorry. It might be a very famous painting. It might be really great. And it might be some famous guy that painted it or a famous lady that painted it. I'm sorry. I'm not spending $100 million on a painting. Nope. So, and you think about, I remember the old commercial about gas station sushi. They was a story about a lady who spent 3 weeks in intensive care after eating gas station nacho cheese. It said 5 cases of botulism have been connected to the same gas station. It said a woman in Walnut Grove, California, spent the last 3 weeks in intensive care. after eating nacho cheese. Imagine that. What do they call those hot dogs that they've been on the roller for good 12 hours? Wizard fingers. Yeah. So the cheese, when was the last time it was changed? Yeah, it might be hot, but when was the last time it was changed? So after purchasing a bag of Doritos, she drizzled them with nacho cheese sauce that was available for customers. The next day, she had double vision and was treated and was in the hospital. So, thought she was sent home a few hours later. She had breathing problems. It was vomiting. So, she had a rare paralytic, I can't even pronounce that, paralytic illness. Botulism is caused by nerve toxins produced by bacteria. Ugh. So I'm going to pass on the hot cheese. Cubs are trying to do is give this game away. They just gave up a 2-run shot. So I think it is, 5-4. Yeah, Wade Davis. Yep, 5-4, and it is top of the ninth. 1 out. So trying to make some excitement in the game here. Also in probably our last news, we got kind of a way to get back at somebody who was rude at a coffee shop. Well, apparently there were some obnoxious people at a table. And they were asked to quiet down, but they wouldn't. They were too loud, and they're all talking about some of their business they were going to do. It says, apparently they come up with this great name for a company. It said they wouldn't hold down the noise. So what did the company do? Or the people next to him? The guy got the bright idea. When they were all high-fiving each other about what name they were going to call their company, the guy went online and bought the domain name. So as quickly as they come about that name and how great it was and how rude they were, somebody went ahead, purchased the domain name, and just to add a little justice to them. So sometimes, you can be a dick, and they got taken. So, yep, they probably deserved every bit of it. I still remember the incident where we were in a restaurant, my father, my brother, and I, and listened to my dad, and it was so funny. My dad was, this is probably not quite 10 years ago now, but it was so funny. We're in the restaurant, and guys were loud talking. They wouldn't shut up, and finally my dad says, I wish somebody would give them a cup of shut the F up. And it was almost like the whole place wanted to go, yes, cheer, because they shut up. So, yeah, it was crazy. That was a funny story. I'll remember that forever. But, yep. So, everybody, it is that time of the night. We're actually a minute over, but everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night on Night Talk with Joe Rocks. If not, we'll also see you Friday night. I'll be back for another edition of Straight Talk. So, if you want to hear our rundown of our shows, I'll give them a real quick rundown. We have Monday night, we got Twisted Southern Horror Queen with Lynn Gibson at 8 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. we got Dad Max with TC and Lydia Elliott. 10 p.m. I follow that with Straight Talk. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Talk Time with Val. She goes from 8 to 10 Eastern. 10 p.m. we got Rock Talk with Amy Shafalo. Wednesday night we got Podcast University with Harrison and Ben. 8 p.m. we got Whiskey, Cars, and Cigars with Johnny Blender. 9 p.m. we got Sports Insider with Glenn and Pasquale. 10 p.m. I come on again, Straight Talk. Thursday night we got Pot Talk with Jim and Paul. That's politically offensive talk. 9 p.m. we got Cosmopolitans with Lauren. 10 p.m. we got Night Talk with Joe Rocks. And 11:30 we got B.A. Hunter, Sarcastically Speaking. Midnight we got the Trudy Light Show. And Friday night, we got Sports Insider with Glenn and Pasquale. We got 10 p.m., we got Straight Talk with yours truly. And we got 11 p.m. rounds out the week with Let's Play Gay with Tony Street. So make sure you tune in, listen to our shows, and interact with us. So you can always see us online, armradioglobal.com, or you can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, just about anywhere. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, and we'll see you when we see you.